Lightman, and I am a singer-songwriter artist local to Los Angeles. I'm originally from New Jersey on the East Coast, and I moved here about 5 years ago.
That was my first question. So you moved here 5 years ago for music, or?
Okay, that's an interesting question because, and I might say interesting a lot because it's been an interesting ride. But so when I moved out here, I was just trying to figure out what was working for me, what was best for me. A lot of times when you're growing up, it's hard to stop making the best decision for other people around you because you're used to doing what your family might want you to do, because when you're raised, they teach you to do certain things a certain way. Mm-hmm. So they weren't really into the move. Oh. But I was like, okay, well look, I saved money. I didn't just save like $1, and I'm just gonna go and see, and if it works, it works. And I'm young now, so I'd rather do it now before like later, because when you get older, like you'll be more tired and more stuck in like kind of your ways of like the way you want things. So just do it now and just take a leap of faith, and that's what I did.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are your parents accepting now?
Yeah. My
5 years later.
My mom's cool about it. She's for like 2 years she was like, "Come back," and now she's like, "When are you gonna visit?" But it's like not.
It's just love.
Yeah. And my grandparents were scared too, and after they saw that I would survive. Yeah. Because it's like I'm one of the youngest in the family, immediate family-wise. So, and the youngest, they just assume they're very naive. And I mean, I was, but, so I was, I survived just fine and still alive and kicking.
Yeah, and the music industry is just really sketchy.
Well, I can't be.
Like, in the view of, like, grandparents and parents.
Yeah, well, at the time I was doing acting. So I graduated from Temple University, and there was this choice I had to make was to do theater in New York, where it was really expensive, and where in my college I don't know why, something universe was like going, nope, not theater, because I kept not getting any theater roles. But I kept getting film roles, so because when you didn't have theater available, you would say, okay, well, what kind of films can I act in? Because the students always needed people. So so that's what I would do. So I would go and do student films, and then all my connections moved to LA because they're film connections, and a lot of people in film just happen to move to LA because it's just kind of the big hub for it at the moment. So I had to make a choice, and I made like a pro and cons list, and like, there was also like a relationship involved, or he was moving to LA, but I didn't want to just move for the person. Like, I wanted to figure out again what was best for me. Yeah. So I made a pro and cons list, and LA had more pros, even though like I was scared, and my fears were like, no, stay here, and like so I just was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. And it's gonna be weird at first, and I'm gonna see where it takes me. And it was really rough the first couple years, and I wrote a song about it, but which you'll see on my new album coming out soon. Oh, cool. But so, promo, I guess. After a while, I found my ground and my people and my purpose, and it worked out. And I think a lot of the time, things do work out for the best if you let it.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, so that was
very
the short
deep
story
that's
of
very deep.
Of the short question.
Cool, that was a good answer.
Yeah.
I liked it. I liked the story.
Yeah.
So you're working on an album. I can't talk.
That's okay.
You're working on an album. Do you have like a release date, or what
So originally my release date was gonna be beginning of March. We're just trying to finish it right now. We just started it yesterday.
Okay.
Cool. We did a lot of scratch vocals, and then today, right now, over there, we're having a guest drummer, play some songs today, as you can kind of hear them.
I can kind of hear it.
excited. He's really talented. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
You're just doing drums today?
Well, that I know of, yeah. I mean,
cool.
I'm not the producer. I don't plan. I just plan who I'm paying and when I'm paying them, and when they're gonna be there and when I might want to be there.
Absolutely.
So yeah, he's there right now, working at the songs, and then after this, I'll probably go in. So it's a lot of things at one time, which is very exciting.
Yeah.
You know,
keeps you on your toes.
Yeah, it keeps me on my toes when I open, right? But yeah, we're trying to get it out by March. I just haven't picked a date yet, because of just getting everything done. And then I'm planning some tours, so I'm gonna do an East Coast tour in April, like around Easter. And then I'm also planning a West Coast tour for maybe late spring, summer, and then in the fall, that's gonna be the big tour, the South tour, where you go from like maybe San Diego. I haven't decided yet. Maybe San Diego too. All right. Well, San Diego's right here, so you could just like anytime, you know.
Yeah,
so it'll either be part of the West
Coast.
Coast tour. Well, depending on the time of day and the day of the week. So,
you've done research, I can tell.
Well, I've driven it a couple times.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then and then so like going from LA through to Arizona all the way to like Atlanta, maybe even Florida. My sponsor Luna Guitars is in Florida, so I was thinking of being like, hey, and then come back. It'll be a really long car ride. And my producer and my boyfriend will. Same person. In case you're like 3 people, will come with me. And then my friend Dream on Music, which I'll tell you about her later, because maybe she could be another specimen. Yeah. She's great. Specimen. She is so much fun. She might, we were talking, and maybe she might do the West Coast tour, which will go all the way up to Portland and go back down.
Oh, cool.
So,
awesome.
Yeah, so just excited. a lot going on, but good things, you know.
Yeah.
And then there's this charity that I work with, that I'm gonna start working with soon, and we're gonna try to maybe tag team, like maybe I'll tour where they put me during the week or something, like find some venues to hang out at. Yeah. Be like, hey, I work with kids. So,
that's your opener? I work with kids.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, the goal is to if I'm in the cities where I'm doing what they're called school assemblies, where I play music for a purpose. Yeah. And a lot of it's called Stand for Kind. So they do a lot of like kindness, anti-bullying, like just being good to yourself, love yourself. Really important things that I don't think are focused on enough. So they tried. It's run by parents, and they wanted to just create a better environment for their children.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I would go and do assemblies during the day, and then at night I'd find venues that are under 21 in case the kids want to come out and bring their parents, and everyone can have fun and just listen to more music, and just, you know, like really build that following, but also, you know, do as much as I can where I am. So
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting. I haven't planned it yet, but yeah.
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 That seems like a lot.
So yeah, if they say where I'm going for the week, and it's a couple weeks before, maybe I'll see what venues are in the area, and then call them up and be like, who calls them? It's all email. Most of it's email or Facebook or Instagram. Sometimes it's fill out a form on my site, and then you know no one's gonna read that.
I hate that. Nobody.
Do you feel? Because I feel like they never answer.
They don't.
They do sometimes, but yeah, you're just like, this is a dead end, isn't it? You put me here because it's the nice way of saying no. But anyway, sometimes they answer. But and then I would say like, hey, you know, like a really cool venue. I'm gonna be here for the week doing such and such, and then I'd be like, do you have anything open, or would you be open to booking me? So that's kind of how that would work. Yeah. Mostly a lot of acoustics tours this time around. Would love to do some band stuff, but it's just gonna be a matter of, you know, funds and logistics and planning. Right now I'm self-managed, and which is really cool because I get to learn a lot of things, but also stressful because I'm doing more than one person's job. So yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's your overall theme of your album, do you think?
So my overall theme is, my dad passed away when I was 14, and he was also a singer-songwriter. So growing up and like watching him sing and going to his little artsy concerts was really, really cool and inspiring. So when I started to realize I kind of maybe wanted to do it, he got pretty sick, and he suddenly passed away. So that made it really, really hard to figure out, okay, how do I do this music thing now that person is like gone, and like, so it took me a really long time to sort of come back to it, because I mentioned acting. But so the album, in lieu of all that, the album is sort of how I got to where I am now, and the reason I got there was because of the things that he taught me. So the way the album will conclude, one of the songs is gonna be, about my dad, and I wanted to write a song about him, but like, what are you gonna say to your dad, like, who's not alive, and like, how would you? So I figure, music, I think, is one of the highest form of like spiritual creation and anything of creating, because everything is very just like a high power of just life. Our universe is created. Anything in the lines of creation is really high. So I figured, well, why don't I just I'll put it in a song, and maybe I'll just like make it like a letter. Like, what would my dad want to know? So that's kind of where I took it. And
it's really cool.
Yeah, so like I thought that might be really cool, because I not to say like people haven't done that, but it's not something that I've seen too often, and it just felt the most natural.
Yeah.
Because it's like you're singing it or playing it, and you're just hoping it gets heard wherever it needs to go. So the album is sort of about all that.
That's super cool. That's super healing for you too.
And going off what you said about healing, I guess I write music with a purpose, and it's not just to share my stories and share my personal whatevers and tunes stuck in my head because I'm a crazy person, but it's also to, I write with the purpose to have listeners in the audience leaving in a more uplifted, better, more clear-minded place than where they came. It's really important to really just not just give people a break from what they're overwhelmed with, but to have them sort of feel okay with it, and to feel okay to connect and to just feel what they're feeling. Because I feel that there isn't enough of that in our society. We're always going and doing and never having time to process, and it builds up. And I think a lot of the things that are going on in the world today are because we aren't processing it in a healthy way, or processing it at all, or being open with each other.
Awesome. I was like, wow. Speaking of processes, what's your song process like?
Okay, so it varies. Sometimes the song falls out of my head. My song home just kind of fell out. It was kind of
just out of your head.
By I mean fall out, I mean you hear it in your head, and you know when you can't remember someone's name, but it's on the tip of your tongue? It's like that, but with songs. So you're like, oh, there's like this tune, and there's like, and then it finally falls out, and it's just like butter. It just like, it just
slides like butter.
Slides like butter. So slides like butter, and then sometimes I'll create some simple chords to go with it. I have music theory training, but I'm not an expert, so then I bring it to a producer or an instrumentalist to like be so I could be like, okay, so am I playing the right chords, or like so I can play it live, or just to give a roadmap for when I might want to produce it, or do something with it. So that's one way. Another way that which is also a really great way, is co-writing. And by co-writing, I mean sometimes somebody will give me an idea, like my producer will he'll just send me an idea that's on loop, just something super simple, and then I'll be like, I can or I can't write a song to that, or I'll just hear something and then I'll write a song, not to the loop, but take that idea and turn it into a song. So depending on what I'm feeling. So sometimes I'll do that. Sometimes I'll just feel something and I'll need to write it down, and it'll be like really good or really bad. Sometimes it's really, really, really bad. And you go back and read and you're like, well, I'm glad I got that out of my system. So
yeah.
Yes.
Served a purpose.
Right, exactly. So then there's that, and then the other way is with co-writing. With my friend Trevin that I've been writing with lately, and I can also plug you into him too. Basically, he'll play something on the guitar, and I'll be like, oh, I'm not feeling that, and then I'll change it, and I'll change it until we're just sort of feeling something, and then we'll just start talking about life. Sometimes we're talking about life, and then he plays something to match it, or vice versa, and then I just start to come up with ideas and start singing a tune over and over, smoothing it out, and then I start writing lyrics depending on the story that we decide to try to riff on, so to speak. So that's another way. And I will say, when it falls out of my head, it's really funny because a lot of times people write with an instrument. I don't feel like an instrument can hold you back, but in a way it almost does, because there are rules and there's keys and strings on the instrument, whatever you're using. And I feel like sometimes that can create a little bit of writer's block. So for me, I like to write just from my head.
Just you just
me, and then I'm like
just you and your brain. Yeah
So me and my brain, just my brain. So it's not, I guess maybe that may not be traditional, but a lot of times it happens like that. And sometimes people are like, well, do the lyrics come first or do the melody comes first? It really depends. I have found that writing from the melody is better than writing from words, because you have to fit music to words. And while that works with poetry, maybe, the focus is music, not words. The words are important, but they're not the most important thing, because you're making a song. So I have found that fitting the lyrics to a melody, just starting with a very basic melody, is the best way to just make a really nice flowing song. So I guess, and then going off that, people are like, okay, well then does the chorus come first, or the hook, or the verse? And it really depends. Sometimes the verse comes first, sometimes the chorus comes first. The bridge usually never comes first. 'Cause, I mean, these days, I feel like you don't need a bridge unless you absolutely need it. And that's just where the style is right now. But yeah, so it just depends. But all those combined.